there, Mama. I'm Courtney Cecil, proud mom of two boys and an organizational culture and behavior change executive. And I'm a believer in building a movement to help the burned out, overwhelmed working moms reclaim their control and free time so that they can confidently remain in the workforce without losing their sanity or themselves. Now, let's get started. Hey, y'all, I'm your host, Courtney Cecil, and welcome back to the Life Management System. So, inside this extra holly jolly episode, I am pleased to bring to you Michelle Tangeman. So, Michelle is a licensed therapist and board certified behavior analyst who is based in Los Angeles, circa Washington State. And in addition to serving as co-host of the Parenting Understood podcast, she specializes in helping children break free from anxiety, but also their parents in navigating behavior change. So as I reflected on my own highs and lows of parenting through the holidays, I thought it would be so timely to bring a guest who actually specializes in family behavior. So please join me in welcoming Michelle to the Life Management System. So Michelle, happy to have you here.
Thank you, Courtney, for having me.
Yeah, okay. So let's just dive straight in because there's a lot of meat that I want to unpack in this, and it's just so timely to the guest. There is a ton of pressure during the holidays to make memories. And truthfully, I drank the Kool-Aid. So my mom and aunt were both Martha Stewarts in themselves. And apparently
Mhm.
the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I feel like Santa Claus essentially personally anointed me to like replace her the holiday season or something, because I definitely have stepped up to the plate there myself. But I also know that even though it's absolutely a hobby of mine and I really enjoy it, people like me are also probably inadvertently putting pressure on others who don't actually enjoy the holiday seasons themselves. So, what would you say to the parent who's overwhelmed by traditions or perfection or, all that Pinterest level, social media level expectations that they are absorbing or superimposing on themselves?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely relevant to the season that we're in. It's a great question because I know a lot of parents just in my sphere talk about that. And I think the best thing or the best advice I could give is just kind of take a moment, sit down and reflect on what did your childhood look like in terms of the holidays and what were your memories and what did you enjoy and what do you want to pass forward in terms of traditions and the holiday spirit for your children and for your family. So I think that there's a lot of noise. There's always a lot of marketing everywhere. I mean, everywhere you go, it's holiday, holiday, holiday in your face. And it's a beautiful season and it's also equally overwhelming. So take what feels good to you and be consistent with it. And maybe you take inventory every year and you say, you know what, this year is just not going to be the year that I'm going to stress about having a certain dish prepared, as an example, for the holiday. Or this is going to be the year that I'm not going to host that Thanksgiving dinner or that Christmas dinner. So I think it's okay to always reassess, but just carve out the time to sit and think about what you want it to look like so that you're not depleted, right? Because then when you're depleted and you're hosting and you're doing the lion's share of the work, then it's easier to kind of fall victim to the guilt or the shame that might come up.
I love that you made that connection, Michelle, because it's our holidays too, right? And it's not fair that as moms, when we're already giving so much, that we don't have anything left in the tank for us to enjoy. And in fact, most of the people tuning into this podcast, that's why they're already feeling depleted, they're already feeling overwhelmed. So you granting them that permission to essentially take, as you said, take inventory every year and just say, you know what, it's okay to break up with that idea this year. It's not forever. It doesn't have to be forever, but this year it doesn't serve me.
Exactly.
I'm a sucker for traditions myself, but I also know that there are pros and cons of those. So when I think about some of the more healthy traditions I have, things like when I think about holidays, my family had an epic Christmas brunch. Obsessed with it, love it. But to your point, maybe I'm only doing parts of that. Or the other thing that I just really gravitate towards is when we woke up on Christmas morning, my parents, in the interest of making sure that they got to experience the entire joy of us seeing what's under the tree and getting to experience that magic with us, they made us stay in our bedrooms until they were ready for us to come out. And they'd have like the Mannheim Steamrollers would always be playing. And it was just like this huge build up to that moment. And I
Mhm.
loved it. And I have implemented that in my house. And I do believe that some traditions can help moms reduce the mental load and the decision fatigue.
Mhm.
But there also is probably a sense of pressure there too. So do you have any, whether it be concrete examples of what you would think might work for you or not work for you, or any advice that you would specifically recommend around like what does the child version, like the child psychology behind traditions really look like?
Mhm.
And does it mean anything to them, or is that something that we're inadvertently putting pressure on ourselves for?
Yeah, that's a great question. The traditions really are passed down from generation to generation, right? So it is kind of bestowed on the parent to say, okay, well, what do we want to pass on to our kids? And then our kids, they don't really have a lot of say, right? In the traditions that we're presenting to them,
Well, they
as
probably
small,
too, to that point, Michelle, they don't have any context because
right.
they had no exposure to it before.
Right. It's just what they know, whatever is in their environment, right? They're not waking up in somebody else's house, not likely, right? Um, or like with a different family, so that they have that perspective is what I'm saying, is like they
Yeah.
lack that perspective. And so they only can go based off what they know or what they have seen or what they have grown up with. It's really thinking about what is the messaging that you want around traditions. And really the messaging around traditions is this is what we do as a family, right? So like to your example of, like your parents wanted you guys to stay in your room. There was like this beautiful buildup, and that maybe that's that feeling. You remember that feeling. And that feeling
Mhm.
was so positive that you're like, that's something I want to pass down to my children. I hope that they will have the same feelings. And I'm actually curious, if you're implementing that, how do they like that tradition?
Mm. Regardless if you meant this as an actual question or a rhetorical question, I think it's an important point. So I'm going to pause there
Mhm,
because there could be things that are really important to us that maybe we do because it's what our parents did. And I think you alluded to that, Michelle. And that becomes baggage if it's not something that actually brings us joy. But
mhm,
to take that a step further, does it even matter to our kids? And if not, like if they don't value it or they don't like it,
mhm,
why does it
mhm,
even matter? I'm sure if you ask my boys at their age right now, so they are eight
mhm,
and a half and 10, they'd probably be
mhm.
like, no, I went downstairs to see the gifts as soon as possible. And I don't care. Like the reason
Right.
that we did this is my mom grew up with less than we had growing up, and it was really important to her
Mhm,
that they got to experience every gift we opened and never wanted to not be able to see that joy. So that's like a selfish parent thing, and I
mhm.
120% appreciate why
Yeah,
and do it myself for that reason. I
yeah.
mean, it's like I don't give Santa much credit. I give myself most of the credit. um but I think who knows what my boys would say, but I
Okay,
think that
yeah.
your point is well taken. It's,
Well,
are we
yeah.
putting pressure on ourselves when our kids don't even really care?
Well, I mean, I think that the additionally I would like to add is, it's like kind of this idea of, especially at your kids' age, like being more collaborative, right? So, like, is that something that you believe so firmly that that's something I want to continue? Then that is a value and a tradition that you hold dear, and that's okay to enforce. There's no like right or wrong here. It's then if you were to ask your kids, like, like year after year, they want to get up, they want to get opening those presents, right? And it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. You're like, no, it's too early. Like, I want to stay
Mhm.
in bed. Also reasonable. But if it becomes like a source of tension or like there's this battle, like then maybe there's like a discussion about that. Especially if they're at ages where maybe they don't believe in Santa anymore, as an example. Like I have an 8-year
Mhm.
old, and right now we are teetering. Like she is on this, like I'm seeing patterns. Why do all the Santas look different? Like she's able to like logically think and poke holes. And so like, then you have to kind of modify. You kind of have to like, okay, now we're going to kind of do things a little bit different. But remember, we've got a 5-year old in the house and he still believes. And so, to I guess to my point is like, there's no right or wrong. If it's a tradition that you believe in and you want to continue, go for it. But if there's wiggle room then and there's an opportunity to discuss and collaborate and create your new family tradition, then that's also beautiful as well.
I love that. On a number of different reasons. So I think about the Christmas brunch as an example that is very important to me. It was a huge part. I used to spend Christmas with all of my cousins and my aunts and uncles, and there was, I don't know, at one point probably 30 to 40 of us. And the Christmas brunch was like the thing that where we all got together and gosh, it was such a big thing. But collaboration could be, hey, we're going to do Christmas brunch because it's important to me, but even what's important for you to have there? Like, what do you want it to
Yeah.
feel like? What foods do you want served? Like, there are always opportunities to meet in the middle, regardless of
Mhm.
what that looks like. So all of
Mhm.
our opinions and needs are represented.
Absolutely. I love that. I want that. I want Christmas brunch.
Yeah,
I might take that.
I would say it is a hands down quality experience. And for anybody that lives in the South near a Bojangles, we have learned the ultimate shortcut to like country ham biscuits. Bojangles makes the most epic biscuit, and then we are not having to do it. So I'm a big fan of Christmas brunch. You got to get you some. Okay, so Michelle, let's switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit deeper about actual behavior. So,
Mm,
if we fast forward a couple weeks, most kids across America are going to be on break, probably actually across the world from school. So, kids are on
mm,
break, they're out of their routine, bedtimes are shifting, sugar spiking, like everybody's everywhere. What are some practical ways that parents can manage
mhm.
the like natural increase in tantrums and natural increase in chaos and that sort of thing that is inevitable anytime kids go out of routine?
Yeah. I have my tried and true behavior recommendations. It's true for holidays, it's true for summer break. It's just true for kids and breaks in general because transitions in and transitions out back, I suppose, are all challenging. And I think the one constant thing that I really want to emphasize from a mental health perspective, right? So like understand I'm taking that frame, and that is I am going to preserve sleep as much as possible. Sleep for the parents, sleep for the kids. And so that doesn't mean I'm rigid. It doesn't mean that I'm saying, oh, like, okay, let's just say on average, my kids are going to go to bed around 7:38. And on occasion, in that 2 week winter break period, my kids maybe two, maybe three times are going to bed 9:30. That's okay, right? When you change the entire week to pushing the bedtime later and later, then you kind of dig yourself a bigger hole. And the kids are going to be crankier and you're going to be crankier. So, if there's anything that you can remain constant, it's going to be that bedtime. That bedtime is really crucial for their brains, for our brains. So stick with that. That's what I would say is don't deviate too much from the bedtime, the time that they're in their bed ready to go to sleep. That's one. Number two is have some kind of flexible schedule, right? So again, just not a ton of preparation. I'm not asking for a ton, but I'm asking for a little bit of um, organization and preparation. Okay, a week before break starts. Okay, this is coming. I'm going to have a flexible schedule and a routine of what we're going to do. So that might look like we are going to go on a walk in the morning. So we're going to move our bodies, we're going to exercise, we're going to be outside. We're going to do some family downtime and we're going to do reading time. And we do that for 30 minutes. And then we're going to do like an outing. That big outing could be 2 or 3 hours, but it's just going to be one outing. And then we're going to do, we'll do a little bit of screen time, right? So, like, however long you want to do that, 30 minutes, an hour. So, screen time's on the schedule. And then it's going to be family dinner and then bedtime. So, some kind of flexible schedule that you can follow so it becomes predictable. Because when it's predictable, then you minimize the likelihood where you're going to have tantrums, meltdowns, or any kind of higher levels of dysregulation. So that and then front loading, just preparing them for the day, like, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. So similar to the schedule and these are my expectations and be very specific and clear about what that is behaviorally, right? So if you're starting to feel overwhelmed because we're going into this new environment and all of our family is around, then this is the plan. It's okay for you to excuse yourself and go to the office for a little bit and have some downtime. But it's not okay for you to um, express your feelings in a way that is inappropriate. So just be clear, like put it out there and make sure that when they are showing you the behavior that you want to see, that you're noticing that, that you're acknowledging that, because then you're saying, oh, I see that you're making an effort and that you're doing this, and I appreciate that. And then guess what? It's like magic. That behavior continues to happen over and over again in the future.
Yeah, it's so human to want that positive affirmation and reinforcement. Very human need. I also would like to just appreciate how clear you were with your expectations and how specific you were there, Michelle. Like now everybody listening knows
Yeah.
exactly what they can do to make this
Mhm.
successful. And I
Mhm.
will say, I've never done this with winter break. So I appreciate the reminder for myself right now, just selfishly, but we have done something similar for summer. And to your point around collaboration earlier, we asked the boys to create their own schedule. And
Yeah.
we were able to do this as early as kindergarten because I mean, probably even if they go to a preschool or daycare, kids are accustomed to changing what they do about every half hour. It
Yep.
keeps them engaged, but it also empowers them to actually
Mhm.
want to stick to the schedule when they are a collaborative party in creating it. So that was wildly successful for us over summers.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Keep it moving, keep it changing. You don't have to have I think that there's some anxiety of like, I need to keep my kids entertained. It's okay for them to be bored. It's okay for them not to be entertained. It's okay for you not to prepare any kind of activity or whatever. Just have some materials available. Like moving materials from like I think I envision like in my house, like there are certain things the way that my house is designed that I put certain toys away. We don't see them for a while. You bring them out during a holiday and it feels new again. And then sure enough, they're playing with that for 45 minutes. So it could be simple. You don't have to put extra pressure on yourself to create this elaborate winter break
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah, I love that. We always, when the boys were little, would do toy bins where we'd have one bin for a week. And then at the end of the week, that bin went up and we got out another one. And we had six of them that would rotate. And to your point, every week it felt like the toys were new and things actually got played with.
Mhm.
Man, it works. It really works.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to just offer to anybody listening. So Michelle talked about preserving sleep. And if you have been following me for a while, you know that I really suffered with some massive sleep anxiety coming out of postpartum. And I use this tool called Apollo Neuro. So essentially the Apollo Neuro is a neuro tool. It is training your brain to both control your sleep and control your anxiety and to feel whatever it is you're trying to feel in the moment. It's a neuro tool. So if you are looking for anything on your Christmas list, and you are not finding that deep breathing and meditation is helping with your anxiety or helping with your sleep, I am going to drop a link in the show notes for you to get $60 off that tool. Is one of the only things that I swear by, and it is the only thing I have actively solicited getting an affiliate code on because it's something that has so deeply helped me and so many other people that I've recommended it to. So I'll drop that in the show notes. Okay, so Michelle, let's pull on that notion one more time of like, hey, routines are sideways, emotions are high,
Mhm.
regardless if they actually listen to you and get somewhat consistent sleep or they are lacking it. Like
Mhm.
if you are a parent of multiples, you are most likely going to experience
Oh,
some
yeah.
sort of sibling bickering
Mhm.
during winter break. So,
Mhm.
what do you recommend parents do in order to help set the tone and bring a little bit more peace at home?
In addition to setting very clear behavior expectations, my other recommendations, I guess I have two other ones that I would like to offer. The first one is if our kids are typically kids are better, are better behaved, fresher, right? Earlier in the day. So those are your opportunities to really have them kind of free play, be together. And then as the day goes on, they're going to get tired. They're going to get crankier. They're going to be more triggered by each other. That's just natural. That's part of having siblings. And so I think this is where you can get really creative as a parent and you start to set shorter interaction time. So this is where you're kind of creating a little bit more structure in terms of how much time that they are playing together away from the parent. And so what I mean by that is, okay, it's like 4 o'clock, 3, 4 o'clock, they're starting to really get at each other. It's happening more frequently. And you're like, okay, it's time for everybody to go find an independent activity. They do that, great. And so then you decide, okay, well, we need to all come back together. And so the kids do, and set up an activity that is short and quick where you have lots of success. And so that it ends on a positive note. Okay, so this is really great, like for younger children, for example. So like if you've got like a couple toddlers in the house, like this is the best thing. So I envision you like setting a timer for 10 minutes, get break the ice. It's a fun game. Kids are playing break the ice. They're having a great time. They're taking turns. You're providing lots of verbal praise. Timer goes off and they've had a successful play interaction. Great. And then you send them off kind of doing different things. And you kind of repeat this process as many times as you would like to. That way, the interactions feel positive between siblings rather than the parent feeling like they're intervening all the time or verbally reprimanding or engaging in frequent timeouts. Like it becomes much more positive rather than reactive parenting. So that's probably what I would suggest first.
The systems engineering me loves your style, Michelle. You are so tangible with your recommendations, which is going to make it easy for anybody who's listening to implement. So, just some praise for you in the spirit of that
Thank you.
appreciation. Yeah. Um, okay, so let's fast forward to holiday gifting, which is
Mhm,
probably the single most anticipated activity for most kids. How do
mhm,
you recommend parents respond when one of their children says something like, "Oh, that's not fair," or "Why did my
mhm.
sibling get more?" With how do you recommend parents kind of work through that?
So this is one of those things that I would probably not like. Life is not fair, right? And it's going to feel unfair. And even if it isn't unfair, like from the parent's perspective, it's not unfair, but the child perceives it as unfair. It's really important for the parent not to invalidate the child. So even though from the parent's perspective, it's, hey, we did a pretty good job of making it equal, it's not about that. It's the child is having an experience and it's important for you to meet them where they are and say, "Oh, I see why you might think that." This is a great opportunity in building perspective taking for kids. So for example, like a response that I would offer parents is like, I see that you're saying that this is unfair and it feels unfair and it sounds like it feels bad. Does it feel bad? Right? We don't want to assume that our kids feel bad. Let's build that emotional literacy, see if they can label it for themselves and say it feels bad. Does it feel bad? What are you feeling? And just so you know, that feeling is going to go away. Feelings come and they go. They're like waves in an ocean. Okay, so let's just write it out. I hear you. And I said, let's take a moment and pause. What would it feel like if you saw your sibling getting more toys or more of something and they were, and then you were excited for them. And then vice versa. What if they were excited for you, even though they knew they weren't getting as much as you were and they were excited? What would that feel like? And then kind of explore that with them, right? So you're not really tackling this like, oh, it's unfair, and then you're trying to mitigate it. You're actually kind of digging a little bit deeper and saying, okay, this is might be a good opportunity for us to like kind of do a little bit of feelings work, right? And build a little bit of perspective taking. Because the reality is that's not going to be the first or the last time that they feel like it's something is unfair to them. So let's build like their tools so that they can go into life and know what they're experiencing and be able to navigate that.
So I come from a background in corporate culture transformation and change, Michelle. And what I always would help people understand inside the organizations I worked was at the end of the day, most humans just want to feel heard and seen. And what I heard from you just now is the like you are granting your children an opportunity to do that, to an opportunity to just be heard. And I love that you've given language to help bring that to light. And that alone is often enough to diffuse a lot of the emotion is just their ability to feel heard.
Yep.
Because I will say, I have always tried to talk to my boys and help them understand that comparison is a thief of joy. And that is a
Mhm.
really complicated concept for kids at that
Really
age to
hard.
get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Particularly given how many adults continue to struggle with that same concept.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And that kind of, we kicked off this whole conversation of like, oh, there's this pressure to do these traditions. And it's because you're being fed, Pinterest. You see this on Pinterest. You see this on social media. You see this on TV. It's like a lot of information that's coming in. Right. And so you start to compare yourself. It's a natural thing. It's a natural human experience to engage in comparison, but there's usually something else going on beneath the comparison. And so getting curious about that and helping your children get curious about that and, helping them navigate that, I think is a really important core skill that we can help our children develop.
Yeah, really great connection. So, as it relates to basic culture principles, how might you advise someone or like help them shape a culture of gratitude at home with their kids? Like, I think about that really popular video that was going around probably 5 to 10 years ago at this point, where the kid unwraps an avocado and he says, "It's an avocado. Thanks." Have you ever seen that?
I've never seen it.
Oh my
No.
gosh. Okay, I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna link it in the show notes. Like it is one of my favorite
Yeah.
videos of all time. But essentially, it's like a 4-year-old kid who is, pranked by his parents, and he
Yeah.
unwraps an avocado on his birthday. And because he has been so ingrained to express gratitude and like really appreciate things, he sees it as a gift that it is, as opposed
Yeah.
to, just like, oh, this? Like, you know, is there a magic bullet for building a culture of gratitude?
That's a great question. I know that, it's a value for a lot of people. And I definitely think it's, in the zeitgeist, to build this, attitude of gratitude. And it's a great value to have. In terms of building it in our children, it really starts with before that, making sure that our kids are building empathy. And before that, cognitively, it's really building perspective taking. And so to get to the core of your question, it's really about how are you as a parent, if you're wanting to build this culture of gratitude in your home, it's are you doing a good job of building perspective taking skills, right? That I've commented on before. It's what do you think the other person is thinking, or feeling, or how are they seeing it from their eyes? And so that is what helps you start to build that cognitive function, for your kids.
Kind of similar but different. I want to see if your answer would be any different. If a parent is thinking, okay, my kids got plenty, they're
Yeah.
good. We
Mhm.
really want to start scaling back on what we're giving,
Mhm.
or we I don't know, we think we've gone overboard and we need to undo some of that. Would you have any different advice, or would it be the same regarding how a parent might navigate that so their child doesn't actually feel left out or disappointed?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I think that that's a good conversation to have after. It's kind of along the same lines of feelings. Like, what are the feelings that are coming up for you? Right. And talking through that, instead of trying to maybe minimize it or put a band aid on it. Right. Like, those are things that are not necessarily helpful in that moment. But again, are we fostering this idea of building their emotional intelligence and being able to navigate that and validating their experience and saying, you probably feel disappointed, right? And this is what disappointment feels like. Did I get that right? And so again, you're just building this library for them that a lot of us, I mean, didn't get any of that, right? Um, and from our parents, or didn't get any like formal therapy, right, to build those skills. So we're supporting our kids and helping them navigate their feelings and what to do with them.
Oh, yep, that makes sense. Okay, so Michelle has been so generous with very tactical things that we can implement.
Mhm.
Also have, and I'll link this in the show notes too, an episode that I hosted many episodes ago, episode 17, that I'm going to link in the show notes, and that is other very tactical things you can do. So as an example, like you missed your kid's holiday party because of work. What are other things you can do to make up for that for yourself and for your kid? Or what are ways that you can easily make the season feel magical without it breaking you or feeling like a lot of work? So I'm going to link that in the show notes. But Michelle, before we move to the lightning round questions, I want to zoom out with you real quick and say, okay, if you were to think big picture about any one single piece of advice that we haven't talked about
Yeah.
regarding how parents might be able to feel a little bit calmer or more peaceful or more grounded or something this holiday season, is there
Yeah.
anything we haven't touched on that comes to mind for you?
Yeah, that's I was actually going to comment on whatever it takes for you. There's a whole host of strategies, mindfulness-based strategies. Um, but in terms of like thinking about calmness and thinking about bringing that calmness into your home, do whatever do whatever that is appropriate and adaptive, right? There's people that like to engage in a lot of, like, let's say drinking, for example. Um, may not be that adaptive, but it certainly might bring you calm in the moment. What I'm saying is, whatever you need to do to stay in the present moment, because there's lots and lots of distractions all around. And our attention is the best gift that we can give to our children. So stay in the present moment, because oftentimes when we're not in the present moment, we're thinking about, 10 steps ahead of us, right? Like, what do I need to do to clean up this entire house, right? In preparation of or post event. Just stay in the present moment, because that naturally will keep you calmer.
That is the single biggest goal that probably unifies my clients, Michelle, is their after presence because so many of them are always feeling the pressure to do more or like they're
Yeah.
chasing their to-do list or anything of that nature. So I actually just sent Actually, no, I just posted this on Instagram. It was the notion of presence, like presence CE over presence like TS. So
Mhm.
if you were one of those people and you are struggling to find presence with a CE, know that that's what I do. That's what my clients and I are working on because it is truly the biggest gift that we could give ourselves. That is, this is our one life. And if you are not more present as you go through it, the next thing you know, you'll be like, where the heck did the last 5 years or 18 years go?
Right.
It's just really,
Right.
it's that would be very sad. So, okay,
Absolutely.
Michelle, let's
Mhm,
take this home with the lightning round questions.
mhm,
These are things that I ask every guest that I have
mhm.
on here. The very first one is what's your go-to stress busting activity?
By far, exercise
Yep.
or just
Yep.
being outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just go
Love it.
outside.
Love it. Yeah, that's the one of my clients, I keep encouraging that of her now. I'm like, I think you need to go outside, like just get air, just get fresh air, just a little bit of fresh air because it does make such a big difference.
It sounds so silly, but go touch a tree. Go touch a tree. Just touch it.
Oh, okay.
Just go touch it. I forget what it is, but it's a Japanese tradition. It's like wood cleansing. Something. Sorry, I don't I was just thinking about it off the top of my head. But anyway, it's a thing. Go touch a tree.
Okay, I'm going to tell her that. I'm going to tell her that Michelle said so. I don't even know if she listens to the podcast, but I'm going to make sure she hears that. Okay. The next, what's the last book or podcast you really loved?
Oh geez. So I that's all I do. I just crush a bunch of books. So I have so many favorites. Right now I'm reading The Woman by Kristen Hanna.
Oh, so good.
It's
Oh my
so good.
gosh, it's
It's
so
don't tell
good.
me. Yep, I'm like 100 pages in, so I'm just getting started. So I like to read fiction. Like like to buy my fiction books, hold them and read them, but I like to listen to my nonfiction. So I'm listening to Strong Ground by Brene Brown,
Uh-huh.
which I love. And um I'm trying to think of what pot. I'm a fan of the Daily. It's news.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that too. But it's funny, I am the exact opposite with my books. I like to
Yeah.
listen to my fiction because I
Yeah.
can pump through it. But my nonfiction, like I like my highlighter.
Yeah.
And be able to go back and reference it. But
Mhm.
I'm not, there's somebody else that said the exact same thing as you that I posted. And I was like, huh, that
Yeah.
never occurred to me unless I'm on a
Well,
beach.
but here's the thing is if I really like the book, then I'll buy the nonfiction book and then I'll go back and highlight as
Yeah.
well. But
Yeah.
I that's 50-50 if
Yeah.
I like it enough to buy it to reference it
So
again.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Hmm.
If you could wave a magic wand, what task would you eliminate forever?
I have two, laundry and dishes.
Oh my gosh, get rid of it, Michelle. That's part of what I help women do is like, get rid of it. Let me help you get
Get
rid of
rid of
it.
it.
Yeah, that is dishes surprises me. So I told one of my clients, she also hated dishes. When we talked about it, we're like, time it. Time how long it actually takes you to do it. And then she came back. She was like, Courtney, that took me 2 minutes to unload the entire dishwasher. I was like, yeah, like let that free you that it only takes 2 minutes. But laundry, man, that shit just sucks.
Laundry is the pits.
Laundry sucks. I won't do laundry probably until my kids are out of the house again. No, thank you. Won't do it. Will not do it. Um, okay, Michelle, last question. Like, how do people reach you and beyond? I know the answer to this question as somebody who significantly researched you to host, but help people understand the difference between what you do and offer if they are local
Mhm.
versus what you
Yeah.
offer nationally and kind of
Yeah.
electronically.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking. So locally, so if you're in the state of California and you need what you think is traditional therapy, so my model is slightly different in that I treat children. So I treat childhood anxiety and I provide intervention for neurodivergent children. So children that have a diagnosis of autism or ADHD. So that is my specialty. That's my wheelhouse. So if you have that and you're struggling, my it's a very parent heavy approach, and so you could be anywhere in the state of California, but generally I service my local community, my local area, but it's usually parent heavy work, so I don't even have to interact with the kid. I may like there are certain situations where behaviors are so intensive and it's so disruptive to the family dynamic that I'm pushing into the home and I'm addressing challenging behavior and I'm changing family dynamics. So that's traditional therapy. um, and then more globally, it falls more under the line of coaching where I'm providing psychoeducation. So I take all of the literature and I provide the information to the parent, and you take that information and you apply it into your home. So it's traditional coach or it's traditional therapy versus like psychoeducation and coaching. So you can go to my website. It's thrivetogetherchild.com. And there it's the way that I structure it, it's a monthly membership. So you pay monthly fee, you have continuous access to me, and you just ask your question. So for example, if you're going through potty training and you're in the thick of it and you're like, I'm getting stuck, you can pop on, ask a question. I respond as soon as I can. Or it could be anything about self-regulation, right? Like my kid is just having a hard time regulating. Like what am I missing here? What do I need to do? And just kind of talking through that.
Perfect. Well, I will include that in the show notes, of course. Michelle, it has been an absolute pleasure, and friends that have joined in and tuned in this long. Thank you for doing so. And if you are already dreading those gray skies before winter even officially begins, I would like to remind you that if you're looking for the perfect gift, I've got it for you. You can grant yourself a trip to join me in West Palm Beach for retreat or retreat yourself. It is my Luxury Girls weekend for the overwhelmed working mom who wants to reset, reconnect with her inner self, and reclaim her energy for 2026. So we'll link that stuff in the show notes too. We are staying at a 5-star oceanfront resort. You will have 4 floors of spas. There are only 3 spots left, so please consider joining us and asking your friends and family for that under your tree this year. But
Mm.
thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, if nobody's told you lately, you're doing a great job. You've got this, Mama. Hey, friend, thanks for tuning in. Add the Life Management System podcast to your favorites so you don't miss my practical, snack sized tips to help you manage the mental load and create a life that works for you. If we're not yet connected on Instagram, come say hi at Working Moms Movement for daily inspiration. And if this is your third or 10th time listening, it's time you bless the small business. Share this episode with another working mom in the thick of it and take 30 seconds to rate and review. It helps more than you know. And if you're ready to go from surviving to thriving and make your day to day actually sustainable, email me at Courtney@workingmomsmovement.com. Mention this podcast for 25% off my coaching services. I also speak and host workshops for organizations that want to support working parents from the inside out. Reach out if you think yours is ready. This has been the Life Management System, your shortcut to less chaos and more calm. And here's your reminder to keep managing your life instead of letting it manage you.